Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. We have the countdown to continue, and we're gonna have a great time. I'm finally feeling a little bit better and not under the weather, and feeling a little bit better. Have a little bit more energy, doing a little bit more stuff. We actually got together with Mike Butter Jelly last night and played Sky Team together, and so we're back, hopefully in the swing of things, and to help us once again with the countdown, Mr. Phoenixknight. How are you tonight, sir?
Hmm, Pretty good for the most part. Just been a little bit of a long day, but hopefully gonna get through this nice and easy.
Yeah. We've been doing these in right about in an hour time. They go pretty quick, and before you know it, they'll be over with, and we'll be moving on. After this episode, we'll only have three more times to do it, and it'll be done for the rest of the year. We won't have to worry about it. It's my Super Bowl, as I talk about every year. It's kind of the one main thing that I like to focus in on and have a great time doing. And so it's kind of with the Super Bowl this weekend. It's kind of my Super Bowl, so I enjoy doing it. And unfortunately, I was sick for a long time doing the first 5 or 6 episodes. But hopefully, we're past that now, and we're gonna hopefully have a lot of really good games to talk about. As Richard Kerr is the first to show up tonight. Thank you, Richard. Good to see everyone out there. Thank you for coming by. If you do make it in the chat, let us know by just posting a comment so we can acknowledge the fact that you made it.
Indeed.
Well, let's talk about what we did last week. We did number five. We did number five. We did number 50 down to number 41. So let's go ahead and rehash and remind everyone what we did as we give everyone a few minutes to get the link and get over to the show before we start. So my number 50 last week was new to the channel. For me, it's a great game. I love this game. It's called Stone Spine Architects.
My number 50 was new to the list and a crossover in the Guild of Merchant Explorers.
Yeah, I think I pretty was sure that was going to make it on our list together. My number 49 was an all-time classic board game. Highly recommend you check it out. Concordia.
My number 49 was up 11 spots from 2024, Heat Pedal to the Metal.
My number 48 was a crossover game with Phoenixknight, as we both really, really like this system by Thomas Van Heer. It was Tally Ho.
My number 48 was a Dice Chucker in Lucidity, Six-Sided Nightmares.
My number 47 was the Commands and Colors system for Napoleonics. Awesome introductory game into wargaming.
My number 47 was another crossover in Glory Days Boxing.
My number 46 is one of the most popular games ever created and a classic game called Twilight Struggle.
My number 46 was Western Front Ace by Compass Games, new to the list.
My number 45 was believe a crossover game. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it's Momentum Football.
My number 45 is another new game to the list in Red, White, and Blue Racing by Play Games.
My number 44, I believe, is going to be a crossover game. I don't know if it's come up on Phoenixknight list yet, but it was The Hunted, Twilight of the U-Boats, 1943 to 1945.
My number 44 is probably my one ancient-esque game on the list in Pandemic Fall of Rome, down 16 spots from when I did the countdown in 2024.
My number 43 is a great civilization building game called Imperium. There's a classic edition, and there's also a veteran classic and Legends Edition. I couldn't think of the word. So depending on which version of the box you get different factions to play. Twilight Imperium Classics.
My number 43 will probably be a crossover, Final Girl by Van Ryder Games, which is up 25 spots.
I believe you are correct. Number 42 is the Mark Semenich's 40X series of games. This is a game called Normandy 44, one of my all-time favorite war games of all time.
My number 42 is a game where admittedly the theme is doing a lot of work in Star Wars Battle of Hoth by Days of Wonder.
And I'm glad I introduced that to you because I thought you'd maybe mesh a little with that one. My number 41 is my highest hockey game that I own. It's a game called Stone Cold Hockey.
My number 41 game is probably the highest social only game I own, and the highest social only game on the list in Space Base.
Nice. All right. Well, for this week, again, we're talking about number 40 down to number 31. I've got actually 3 new ones on the list this year, and I've had a lot of games that have dropped out of the top 10 to 15. I have an 11, a 15, and a 13. All 3 of those games have dropped down into this category this year.
I've got 5 new games in this group.
Wow, that's a lot. I believe, without further ado, you are going to drop. So I don't know what you're doing, but we'll try that again. I believe, without further ado, it is you get to go this week, this time.
Well, I mentioned having 5 new games in this section of the list. My number 40 is not one of them. It is down 16 spots from 2024. It's a very generic deck builder from the best that I can make from it. And it's one where the theme is also doing work. This one is Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle by USAopoly. This one is a good one to use as an introduction for somebody to get into deck building, especially with a good theme to it. And it's actually fairly straightforward, where you've got your various villains, and there's stories for each of the different games, each of the different books, I should say, that you can bring in. There's cards that are thematic to each of those different games. There's even a couple of expansions out for this one that I haven't had a chance to dig into yet, but definitely a lot of content to dig into in this one. In my number 40 game, Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle.
That is awesome. I want to check something on my list here because this year for me, it actually fell out of my top 100. It dropped to number 114 this year, so it will not be a crossover with me. I think it's a great game and a great system, but I'll talk about the issues I had with this game maybe at a different time. I think it's a great game, but the problem with is as you complete these chapters, you add more content to the game, which makes it a longer and bigger game. So by the time you get to the 5th and 6th book, you don't have to just defeat 2 enemies. You have to defeat like 12 enemies, and it's a pretty tall task to be doing. So for me, it just ended up being way too big and way too long. And so I house ruled just taking out random enemies so you don't have to face all of them.
Now, I think there's something to be said later on for having those various villains out there and just kind of the balance you have to strike in managing everything.
All right, my number 40 is a great adventure game. It was number 132 last year. The reason it made it to the list is because I actually played it several times. I bought the first edition because it was pretty cheap. And I'm like, am I just playing this game? Do I like it because of nostalgia? Because of I had a history with this game a long time ago. I got the first edition for like $10, $15, played it. Was like, no, this is a really good game. Went out and found the second edition and played that as well several times. The game I am talking about is called Runebound, which I think if Phoenixknight ever got a hold of his hands, he might enjoy this game as well. It's a little bit of adventuring and moving around on a mini map with different characters. Each of the characters has their own special ability and special power. And then you're trying to complete different quests and get different rewards and, a lot of adventuring. And you're just trying to level your characters up and have a great time. And having a great time with the story as you learn each of the different locations you go to have a little token on it telling you what kind of quest you're going to have there, and then it's all randomly determined. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just really cool, classic Fantasy Flight from the mid and early 2000s. My number 40 is Runebound Second Edition.
Looks like there is a third edition on Noble Knight as I'm looking into this one, but if you're calling out second edition, I assume there's a reason for that.
Because the third edition was a rehash of the second edition that I didn't like how they updated things.
Okay, fair point. So I guess if I try to track anything down, it'll be second edition that I look into.
What I would recommend if you're looking to just try the game and try the system, find a first edition. The first edition and second edition are very close, but they mass produce the first edition, so you can get them for like $8-10. They're very cheap, and then at least you can try it out, see if it's something you might be interested in. Second edition was a little bit more costly if you want to get into buying all the expansions and everything and really invest in it. You can spend a lot of money getting into it. So I would recommend just if you can get a first edition, just get a first edition and try it out.
I'll see what I can find on the Geek while we continue with the countdown here. My number 39 game is actually in a world that I've really liked. And it's a story. It's got a fairly, I would say, a fairly weak story to it is the one thing I'll say about it. But the prize to me is worth it at the end. It is up 15 spots on 15 spots on my list. This one is Aeon's End Legacy by Indie Boards and Cards. Now, I'm going to give you a slight spoiler, but Aeon's End is almost certainly going to be a crossover. But the thing with Aeon's End Legacy is you actually go through a series of 8 missions with custom magi that you build. And when you get to the end of the Legacy campaign, you're actually able to use those magi in future games of Aeon's End. Now, granted, they're a little bit more powerful than the base breach mages that you have that come with the game. But to me, I think there's that aspect of the story, learning about your magi, building them up with their custom abilities, that you're able to kind of figure out, okay, here's how they function the best, and then bring them into your other games of Aeon's End. My number 39, Aeon's End Legacy by Indie Boards and Cards.
Yeah, we actually played Aeon's End something, and you had brought one or maybe both of your mages into the game that we played together online with those mages.
I don't think I did, actually.
I thought you did. Maybe you didn't, but I'm pretty sure maybe you did. We're just talking about bringing them in, or maybe you decided not to. I'm not sure.
I think that's what happened. I think I was going to bring them in, but I realized it was going to be a bit of a pain in the neck to actually bring them in, so I ended up not.
Incorporate them. Okay. Yeah, I remember. And I, as much as I love Aeon's End, and you're probably right, it's probably going to be a crossover game. I have decided I am just not a legacy guy. I don't like the whole building and going through a campaign, and I saw what you did, and I saw how much fun you had, and I thought, oh, this is going to be great. And I played several missions in my Aeon's End Legacy, and after the second mission, I was kind of done. Legacy games and myself just don't get along, I guess.
Well, I think I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate to argue for the other side. That maybe it's just the fact that you're destroying some of the components in the game. That's one thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way a bit. Whereas there's a
Well,
fairly
I would never destroy anything. If it says to tear up a card or whatever, I would just put the card in a plastic bag
Yeah.
and say, old or can't use or
like a
whatever.
like
But
a waste bag or something like that.
yeah, they did that with Gloomhaven and stuff, and I've never been a big fan of that. And they also have a legacy edition of Clank as well, and I never did it with that. So
I
I
think
just, I'm just not a. I guess I'm just not like a huge campaign guy because it's such a big commitment to get through it, and um, I've gone through the Aeon Zen. Like not Legacy, the Aeon Zen. Which one was it? Campaign story. War Eternal. I've gone through War Eternal and New Age, where you progress through and play through the series of adventures.
Mhm.
And I was fine with that. I don't know. It's just something with the legacy, maybe. I don't know. My number 39 is an awesome game. And I was playing last night with Mike Butterjelly, good friend of the channel. And we had talked about continuing on and playing other games. And one of his all time favorite games is the game I'm going to be talking about right now. It is called Hex Explore It. My number 39 is Hex Export, The Forest of Adamon, which is the second season. He had mentioned last night, Mike had mentioned that they just got the fifth season in. And so he was interested in maybe giving Hex Sport a look on the channel as well. And I had talked about it because I knew it was coming up tonight. I was like, oh, it's actually on my list for tomorrow night. And I'm going to be talking about the game. And if we can play it a couple times this year, it'll probably stay pretty high up on the list. There's a lot to talk about with this game. A lot to talk about. I could literally spend 20 minutes talking, but I'm going to summarize this and say it is a great open world adventure game that has great graphics, great content. It has some how do we want to put it? Some kind of weird kind of systems built into the game, but every season they change how the game progresses. Like season 1 is the Valley of the Dead, and you're fighting the necromancer, and he brings in all his undead minions. In season 2, which is the Forest of Ahriman, is all about the druids and fighting the nature creatures and poisons and things like that. So every season kind of has its own flair, and there's just so much content in this box. And not to say that, but every season releases with a huge, massive expansion for it. And then each of the expansions comes with a separate set of cards and another set of cards that you can get. So, we're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of $150 to $200 per season. So it is kind of an expensive game, but man, you get so much content. I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 40 or 50 different characters. Each of the different characters has a different character class and a character race and a special ability and a trait that you can add to them. And if you want a very involved, in-depth, very dedicated, very elaborate, very involved monster game, and you want to commit to something great, Hex Explore It. You cannot get anything better than Hex Explore It. It's awesome. It is trying. It is brutal. It is very interesting. Like the battle mat here is on a wet erase board, so you're just marking things on and off on your little battle mat, which is a very unique way of doing things. They do things differently, which is great because not every game needs to be done the same way. Hex Explore It, The Forest of Adamon.
Also looks like a sprawling mess, though.
It certainly can seem that way for sure. Again, each of the character boards comes and you're just using like a dry erase marker to mark on it and write things on it. And yes, it doesn't. I mean, there is an app that I use to keep track of all your characters and your party information. And each one of these, like the red, the orange, the purple, and the blue, are its own special abilities that you have to use to combine together that'll get you different damage results and different bonuses. And it's a monster game. It is a monster game, but there's a lot to like in this game. But this is the start. And you start the game with basically this setup, and it's not as big and as bad. But as you progress, you'll be adding boards off to the left and boards to the right, and you'll be adding a bunch of stuff. So it does tend to end up being a scrolling mess. But in the beginning, it's fine. My number 39. You might want to just check out some videos just to see if it might be something up your alley.
Let me make a note of that one. All right. My number 38 game is...
Just before you get to your number 38, if you're interested in Hex Explore It, it's a one-man company that runs this, and he only prints it every other year. They reprint the game. So depending on when you get the game, you can get it for like normal price or on sale, or you can be paying double the price if you're in an off year. So just keep that in mind.
Duly noted. My number 38 game is down 15 spots from 2024. And it's something that I use in combination with Call to Adventure to roll up characters for D&D. This one is Role Player by Thunderworks Games. Just like I mentioned, I do use this to help me roll up characters for Dungeons and Dragons, because I can use this. I can use Role Player to roll up the stats, not necessarily the gear that a character is going to have. And then I can use Call to Adventure to roll up the backstory. And the thing is, you've got to match your dice in both the values for your, I believe it's for your backstory, I think. And then you've got to match colors. No, I think it's values for your class and colors for your backstory. I'll get it straight one of these days. But there's a lot of strategy in how you do that. You pick your dice based on the initiative that you want to go in and buy on the market. And potential bonuses for gold on if you pick gold dice for your characters, and different powers that come with it. And my number 38, Role Player by Thunderworks Games.
Yes, that will probably be a crossover game. We've not seen it on my list yet, but maybe in the next day or two, or next time we get together, maybe you might hear about this game again. I love this game. I really, really think it's a cool game. It's by Thunderworks Games, and it's all about dice placement and trying to get bonuses that you can work out to get you rewards to do, like build a really cool character at the end. There's background, there's history, there's alignment, there's everything in a normal Dungeons and Dragons type game, which is incorporated in this. And I think it's really well done. I'm glad it made your list. I'm surprised, but I'm glad. My number 38 is all about, I'm all about the puzzle. I love the mysteries. I love puzzles. I love figuring things out. And I love being smart. Like when you think of things and you use your brain to figure out a mystery, or you figure out something live on your channel, and other people are like, wow, how did you know that? Or how did you figure that out? And then you explain it to them. It makes you feel like you're very smart. If you want a game to make you think like you're a very smart guy, Touring Machine is the game. I play this on Board Game Arena all the time. I also actually own the game because it's such a good game. This is a game where you get several different clues, and all you're trying to do is get a 3-digit number. 421. Like, you have to figure out the answer is 421. And how do you figure that out? Well, blue is going to be a higher number than yellow, and yellow is going to be an even number. And so you have to like figure out through the clues that the game asks you. It's kind of, I don't know if you've ever played the old Mastermind game back maybe when you're younger. Where you have like, it's red, blue, green, and then the game will tell you have one right and you have one in the wrong position, and then you go like, well, I'll do green, green, blue, and then you go, oh, now you don't have any in the right position. Oh, well, then the green one must have been in the right position. So you figure things out as you progress, and that's basically what you're doing in Touring Machine. You're trying to just use the clues that have been given to you to try and figure out what the answer to the puzzle is. And again, it's just a 3-digit number, and you're just trying to figure out what number it is. And again, it's one of these logical deduction type games where it's like blue and yellow combined together are going to be greater than 6. Well, if that's the case, then blue has to be at least a 4 and yellow has to be at least a 3 because it's higher than 6. So it can't be a 1, a 2, or a 3. So then you mark off. Well, blue can't be a 1, it can't be a 2, it can't be a 3. And so you're doing that to try and figure things out. I love puzzle games. I know they're not for everyone, but my number, what are we at? 38. That's where we're at. Is Touring Machine. I actually played this. Look at this. I've played this game 23 times already. And it was number 54 last year. So I played it a bunch in 2025. Probably play it a bunch in 2026. You can play it probably 2 or 3 times in an hour when you get really good at it. It plays great solo. You don't have to have anyone else if you just want to challenge yourself to see how long it takes you to figure things out. Touring Machine.
I definitely need to pull this one out, whether I play it on BGA or in my physical collection, because I do have this one as well.
I thought you had, and I remember seeing it on your channel yet.
I haven't played it yet, but I did unbox it. Anyway, why don't you take us into your number 37 so I can go check on laundry?
All right, I'll do my number 37. You go change your laundry. My number 37 is an all-time classic game. I cannot believe that this game came out in 2016 already. This is a game called Terraforming Mars. Now, it was number 22 last year, dropped a little bit down to number 37. So it dropped about 15 spots. I really like this game. I really like the system, and there's a lot of really good things about this. The one downside is there's so many cards and there's so many things in the box, and there's so many different cards that do different things that you could end up getting like some really dead hands. Like maybe your space corporation is all about titanium, but you might not see any titanium cards for the longest time. It is awesome game. You're trying to obviously terraform Mars. You're using the resources of the planet, heat and water and plants and vegetation, and you're playing a card every turn to try and get its bonus working to the best you can. And you have basically 10 to 12 rounds to try and get your engine up and running and get it to the point where all of your different ratings on your board are in the positive. So you have the temperature track, you have the oxygen track, and then you have the oceans, the liquid oceans, and the different tundra areas that you're going to be putting out in the map. And so you're trying to fill all that area out within, like I said, 10 to 12 turns. There's a lot to like about this game. It dropped a little bit. I just don't play it as much as I used to, but it's still a great game. There's an app you can use to play it. You can play it on Board Game Arena. Obviously, I own the physical edition and all the expansions to it. I will say with the physical additions to the game system, there's a Jupiter expansion, and then there is a planet one, and then there's a Senate one. I don't remember the name of the Senate one. I do not like the Senate expansion at all, especially for the solo player. It doesn't add enough to the game to make it worth it, but the other two expansions are really cool. My number 57 all-time classic, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, it's almost 10 years old already, Terraforming Mars.
Number 37, first of all, I thought. And,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, number 37. Yes, I said the wrong number. You're right.
And this is, of the 3 Terraforming Mars games, this is actually the one I don't have. I don't know. This one didn't click for me. I liked Ares Expedition and the dice game more.
Yeah, well, like I said, the one thing I find is an issue with Terraforming Mars and why it's dropped down a little bit is have such a huge stack of cards that you can get these dead cards that just don't help you at all, and they just don't do anything. And so you're basically wasting several turns waiting for a good card to come along. And that's kind of the one downside. Yes, I agree.
All right. My number 37 game is actually a brand new game to the list this year. This is one that I actually traded with you for last year. This is Nemo's War by, I forget who it's by. I was going to say Victory Point Games. That's who it's by. So this one, you're actually taking control of the Nautilus and Nemo, exploring around the world, trying to do, basically going on one of the first submarine missions in, I guess this one's in the world of fiction, but in the time for history. There's definitely a lot of narrative. There's some war aspects depending on what goal you end up with for Nemo in the game. But you do have to manage your crew very carefully. You have to manage the crew, the Nemo, and your ship. Your primary attack is by ramming the ships in question. But you can get torpedoes. Those are advancements though. But definitely a lot to like here. In my number 37 game, Nemo's War.
Yeah, it does create a very narrative story that's different every time. There's a lot of different cards that you're shuffling up and just adding randomly to, so you're never sure. It's not the same story over and over and again. And as you mentioned, you can play as a scientific vessel. You can play as a warmonger. You can also play as an explorer, and each of the ways you play changes the game slightly. So there's a lot of variability in the game. I think it's a really cool game. It's definitely different. And if you want to learn the 200,000 Leagues Under the Sea,
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah. It's basically the board game for that. And I'm glad you like it. And I need to play this myself this year. I promise you I'm going to play this game because it's a great game and a great system. And it's been a while and it hasn't hit the table. So I need to sit down and get this one back to the channel.
I'm pretty sure I've got this one on my content schedule for the year. I'm just looking at it right now. And yes, I do have it on the content schedule for this year.
When are you doing it? What month are you doing?
I'm not playing this one until May.
May, okay.
So
I'm just I don't like to piggyback. If you're in the middle of something, I don't like jumping in and going, "Oh, I'm going to play mine," type thing. So I'll try to maybe wait till summer or something to play it. All right, why don't you go ahead and do 36 and catch us back up?
Okay, my number 36 game is up 12 spots. And the one thing I'll admit about this game is the theme does absolutely bubkiss for me, but it is Ark Nova by Feuerland Spiel. In this one, you're building a zoo. And like I said, the theme really doesn't do anything for me, but the mechanics are very interesting where you actually, yes, there's a stack of cards that you're going to have. So you've got a little bit of the Terraforming Mars problem in this game as well. But There's also the action selection mechanic is actually very interesting in this game, where you pick your action based and basically how strong it is based on the level it's at. So if you pick one of your actions, and it's individual for everybody. So if you pick your cards, say level 3, you're going to get a weaker effect than if you waited until, say, level 5 with it. But there's a lot of the stuff in here with managing a zoo. And like I said, theme doesn't do much for me, but it gives you really that feel of managing a zoo. Several different maps on there, also reputations for how prestigious your zoo is. You're basically trying to balance your appeal and your conservation effects. And when they cross, the end game gets triggered, whether it's the solo mode. Actually, that's only in the social game. In the solo, you've actually got a little bit of a timer that you're going on. When that ends, the end game triggers. And if they haven't crossed, you won't win. My number 36 game, Arc Nova.
Yeah, I think it's fun with all of the different tableau building on your map. You got to build the different enclosures. You got to rent the animals, and then as you talked about, the action selection system, and based on where the card is located, it tells you the power level that you get to activate it as. You're also trying to do good things with conservation of the animals and sharing information with other zoos to get different bonuses and penalties, and kind of help you manage the game. It's it's an all-time classic, and I think it's the number 2 or 3 overall 2. It's now the overall number 2 board game of all time, right behind Brass Birmingham. So, all-time classic, and you can play it on Board Game Arena, which is implemented very well. Speaking of very highly rated games, my next game, which is number 36, was number 15 last year, and it dropped down to number 36 this year for the fact that, again, I think I only played it maybe once in 2025, and it is actually the 5th rated game of all time here on the list. Is a game called Dune Imperium. Very highly rated game, once again, by the board game community. If you are familiar with Dune, the science fiction novel, this is basically Dune, the board game. It has a pretty decent solo mode that you can play with. You do have to run several factions, but the game pretty much plays itself for you. There's not a lot to manage. Obviously, it's all about getting the spice and getting your relationships going with your different factions. You have the Fremen, you have the Bene Gesserits, you have the trade union. Each of your different leaders has their own special ability and special powers. One of the real cool mechanisms in this game is the fact that you have a hand of cards. You can choose at any time to stop playing cards for the round, and you get to use those cards to purchase new cards and influence the battle at the end of the round. Or you can continue playing cards as much as you want, as long as you have meeples to put out. So it's kind of a tug and pull, because you're like, well, I could play this card, but what's it going to give me? Is it going to give me enough to actually play the card, or would I rather use the resources on the card to buy a better card out of the market? It's fallen down for me just a little bit, because it is kind of I'm not going to say it's a meaty Euro game, probably medium weight, and it's a great game, and I still love it to bits. It's just I just fallen out of love as much. Again, it was number 15 last year, so it was really, really high up on my list from 2024. 2025, again, only played it maybe once or twice. Not a whole lot of plays. I just couldn't spend the time to do it. So my number 36 is Dune Imperium.
I think we'll be seeing this one later on my list.
I thought we might. I've seen it a few times on your channel.
Well, my number 35 game is a crossover, and probably not going to say too much more about it, but it is Slay the Spire, the board game. Admittedly, I never played the video game, and after my experience with Metal Gear Mondays, I've kind of gotten a little bit hesitant around board games that are based on video games and vice versa, just because, as a rule of thumb, generally the two will never get each other right, completely right. But I definitely like the board game implementation. It's a deck builder. It's also a little bit of a roguelite. It's got very light dungeon crawl aspects to it as well, I think. But you've got a lot of your traditional dungeon crawl stuff in there, buying potions, dealing with your enemies, bosses, all that fun stuff. And my number 35, Slay the Spire, given that it is a crossover, I'm not going to say too much more about it.
Yeah. I'm glad this is on your list. I think it's you like these boss battler type games, and it's very, I'm not gonna, kind of similar to those, and there's so much content in that box. There's so many good things and ton of replayability. You have the different factions which play differently, and every time you play it, it's going to be completely different every time. Yep, good crossover game. All right, my number 35, I can almost guarantee is not going to be a crossover game because I don't think, number one, you own this game, and number two, you have any desire to play this game whatsoever. It is one of my all-time favorite Halloween type games to play on Halloween or around that time, because you're basically playing the bad guys. This is the Bloody Inn. Very quick playing card game, which plays within 30 to 60 minutes, 1 to 4 players. So it does have a solo mode. You're basically running an inn and you're trying to invite people into the inn and dispose of those people at the proper time when there's no one looking and no one watching and there's no one there to investigate it, and then bury them and get the bonus that they will give you at the end of the round for every person that you've eliminated, shall we say. So it is a very, there's not too many games where you get to play as the bad murdering, axe murdering, wielding psychopath. If you don't like that theme, you might not want to play this one. It is, unfortunately, that's the theme, and that's what it's how you play it. And it's a 20 to 30 minute game. Have a great time. Play it solo. Every time you play, it's going to be completely different based on how the other characters come into play and when they show up. And you're going to have priests, or every character that you come across is going to give you a bonus or a penalty based on, like this guy here. You can see he's got guns, which means if you kill someone when he's around, you instantly lose. So you have to make sure we have to eliminate this guy, or we can't, indulge. Now, there's a lot more to it that I'm talking about. You can kill somebody as long as you bury someone, then he won't see the body. So there's ways to mitigate things. But then you have to have different locations to bury the bodies. And then once you bury the bodies, they give you a special reward. And then you're trying to earn money so you can do all these fancy things at the end of the round. It's quite a game. You're never going to find another game like this out there. My number 35 is The Bloody Inn.
Yeah, that's a thing, I guess.
Great for Halloween time. I'm telling you, it's very thematic at Halloween time.
Well, I think I've got enough Halloween-y games in my collection, Halloween-esque games in my collection, that I probably don't need The Bloody Inn for that.
That's probably true.
Anyway, my number 34 game is going to start us off into the baseball section of the countdown. So these are all baseball games, and these are probably the main systems that I have, with the exception of 2 that didn't make the list. But first up, we've got History Maker Baseball by Play Games. Now, we were just talking in the green room about another baseball game, a History Maker baseball right there. This one's actually a very simple game where it's basically roll what I call Grixis dice, if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, red, blue, and black dice. Get the result off of that, read them in ascending order. And one thing I like that's very unique about History Maker baseball is it actually brings the umpires into the game as well. I don't think I've seen another baseball system that does that. But so you roll your dice, get your result, and then off you go to the next batter. And it really focuses in on the traits of the batters, of the traits of the players, not necessarily really the stats per se. So there's more of that narrative aspect to this one as well. In my number 34, History Maker Baseball by Play Games.
Yeah, you've really jumped on these play games and really found them to be to your liking. That's for sure.
And I think, given how many of them seem to tell that good narrative story, that's to me that's kind of a match made in heaven.
That is true. My number 34 is a new game to the list this year. It is an awesome, really cool game. I picked up on a whim because of the theme and what it is. It's Lord of the Rings, which I love. And it's a book adventure game. And I'm like, well, book adventure games are for kids. What the heck, you know? But for me, my really fell in love with this game last year. We played it a bunch of times. It is super cool, very thematic, puzzly type game where you get so many actions and you're trying to move the different characters on the board while other pieces are doing things. In this case, the shadow riders are going around in a circle trying to block you off. And so you have got to try and get some of the characters from here into the Prancing Pony. And then once you arrive at the Prancing Pony, you can spend some of your resources to get Strider to show up. And when Strider shows up, then he has to get the several hobbits and Strider on top of the water top. And so you're trying to do all this in a certain amount of time as you progress. And there's very thematic chapters you're going through. The second chapter is all about the Fellowship of the Ring. And then you also have the Mines of Moria you're going to be going through and trying to fight off the troll, the cave trolls. You have Shelob's Lair, which is a little bit more going on with that one. So the adventure book game, Lord of the Rings, again, I love Lord of the Rings. I saw it and I was placing an order and I was like, adventure book game, I don't know. And I'm so glad I took a chance on this game because I really, really like it. Great puzzle elements, some deck manipulation and using, the different actions on the cards. Here's the forming of the Fellowship where you got to get some of the characters together to work together while they also are trying to fend off all of the fear, the elven fear and the dwarven fear and the fear of mankind. And you've got to dodge those as you're trying to get the different characters to get in the right locations. Very puzzly, very interesting game mechanism. If you don't like puzzles and trying to figure out like Stratego, if you ever played Stratego, like you're trying to figure out like, how am I going to get all these pieces in the right spot at the right time? If you don't enjoy games like that, you might not like this one, but for me, it is a great, awesome game. The Lord of the Rings, the adventure book game.
Like I mentioned on one of your last Lord of the Rings games, I never really got in. I watched the movies, but I haven't really done much with Lord of the Rings beyond that.
It is, it can be a bit much, that's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, my number 33 game was basically, to me at least, again, this is a baseball game, but I think for me, this is kind of the APA replacement. This is Fall Classic Baseball by ASG. just like with APA, it's all based on a D66 system. You've also got a D20 that you've got in there. Obviously, it's a baseball simulator, and it doesn't have any images from the looks of it, but you roll, get an APA style result. Everything starts on the batter card. Pitchers could come in. Ballparks are also involved in this one. But just like with History Maker Baseball, it is, again, a baseball simulator, but you do manage all the players. And one thing that I will say that's very unique to Fall Classic, if you watched any of my baseball videos on my channel, I always talk about how I get pitchers warming up in the bullpen. This one in History Maker Baseball are actually where, well, I don't think it matters as much here. It definitely does in History Maker, but you actually have to roll for the bullpen session to see how it went. So that's very unique in Fall Classic in my number 33 game. And I think this is a crossover.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is. I think we actually already had Fall Classic on my list. Maybe. Let's see. Did we hit Fall Classic yet?
80-something sticks in my head, but I wouldn't swear to it.
Let's see. Number 90, Fall Classic Baseball. Yes, sir. Number 90, Fall Classic Baseball. Two things I have to say about Fall Classic that I cannot express enough to people out there. When you buy a season of Fall Classic, you get their free defensive sheets, which I think are the best thing ever in existence. I actually taken the sheet that they use in Fall Classic and imported it into other systems because having all of the defensive information for a team on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, so I can just stack it right there. Anytime I want, I can look up any of the players' ratings and stats or whatever, is awesome. And it comes for free when you order one of their seasons. It's a defensive, I forget what they call it, defensive stat sheet or whatever.
Probably just defense charts or something like that.
Yeah, defensive charts. And the second thing is, if you order a season from them and you want to purchase, the other thing you can do is actually play. You can order an Excel file that you can get for $5. Well, they used to be $5. I don't know if they changed the price on these anymore. But for $5, you get the season and you can actually play it on in Excel. And it's a great way to play the game in the system, and the charts and everything are built into the game. And I would highly recommend. So with those two additions alone, I think Fall Classic is awesome game system. I know like everyone looks at the game and the system and blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's the defensive sheets and the Excel sheets that really kind of round this game out and make it a great game. So just thought I would mention that. Where are we? What number? I can't even remember.
33.
33. Okay. Last year in 2025, on my birthday, one of my all-time favorite companies of all time went out of business, Greater Than Games. And I said to them, I was so depressed. I was so upset. I basically quit board gaming for 4 months and was not enjoying the hobby, not enjoying, everything going on with what was being done, and companies going out of business and the tariffs and, the whole mess we had in April of 2025. Fortunately, hopefully, we're over the hump on that now. And my number 33 bestest game of all time is a game by that company called Spirit Island. And this is one of these games that might be in the top 5 games of all time. It's that good. It's just I hardly ever play this game. As you can see, I've only logged 6 total plays since I've been keeping track. This is one of these games I only play maybe once or twice a year, and that's why it's fallen down to number 33. It was number 11 last year, fallen down to 33 just because I cannot find the heart and desire to play this more than once or twice a year. It is one of the greatest games in the existence of mankind. You have, as you know, I love characters with special abilities and special powers. There are somewhere in the neighborhood of like 60 different factions you can play now with their own special abilities and powers and cards and everything. And every time you play is going to be different. And you're basically trying to defend the game, defend your island against the game working against yourself. So it plays great solo, plays great two-handed, it plays great three-handed, four-handed. However many people you have or don't have, it plays great. I just need to find more time to play this stinking game, and it would be obviously in my top was number 11. That could be maybe in the top 5 of all time, but awesome game. Love the system. There's so much strategy, so much to talk about, especially if you're playing with someone. I'm not sure me and Phoenix have played this. I know me and Lower Slower Board Gamer have played this online together. We have a great time because it's one of these talk it over. Okay, I can do this. I can, take over this territory. If you can just kill this one dude, I need you to get rid of that guy. Okay, I can do, and you're working out a nice, super cool plan. And when the plan comes together, it is magic in a board game. My number 33 bestest game. I could go on about this one. Spirit Island. Whew, whew.
I have a little bit of an interesting history with this game because I don't mind Spirit Island, but I've got a lot of kind of, I don't want to say sore memories of it. But there's a guy that I used to play board games with, and he was a real alpha Spirit Island gamer. Used to drive the rest of my group and I really nuts, to the point where we just really kind of dropped Spirit Island after that. But
yeah, I mean, if you have one person ruining it for everyone, it's just not going to be a fun one. That's for sure.
yes, I still have my copy of it. I probably need to dust it off at some point, but like I said, very, very interesting checkered history with Spirit Island. That's making me hesitant.
Maybe if we sat down and played with someone like me and, me, you, and Lower Slower Board Gamer, we could have a monster game. The 3 of us together would be awesome.
Maybe. Anyway, my number 32 game, actually my number 32 and 31 are my 1 and 1A games when it comes to baseball. And really? Actually,
you had 4 baseball in a row.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my number 32 is actually the subject of my 2001 season replay. Yep, and he's going right for it, and he's got the right one. It is Payoff Pitch Baseball. This was actually my very first baseball game that I got into the baseball space of the hobby with, where you've got you roll 2d6 and a D percentile. Well, it's D100 actually. You take the 2d6 off the pitcher card, the D100 off the batter card, and I really like that it involves both of them. That was one thing that always drove me nuts about APA, where for all the impact the pitcher and the ballpark have, I might as well be pitching on the moon. You'll get a very similar result to that. And I do really like the fast action cards in the game as well, where you flip it over, get your for your single, your double. There's a lot of stuff you get off the fast action cards. So I do really like how this game flows nice and easily. In my number 32, Payoff Pitch Baseball, which I'm almost certain is going to be a crossover if it hasn't been already.
Ooh, let's see. Let me look at that one real quick.
And it looks like we've got Cardboard Commander stopping by tonight. I'm not dogging on APA Cardboard.
I believe we'll be seeing this one and talking about this one again. Cardboard Commander, how you doing, buddy?
I'm not dogging on APA Cardboard Commander.
Every time Cardboard Commander shows up, you're talking bad about APA. You're talking smack about it every time.
Well, it's not necessarily talking bad about it because I see what the system's going for in APA. It just doesn't work for me. That's the problem.
Yeah. We're just teasing you, buddy. We're just teasing you. All right, my number 32 bestest game of all time is the only war game that made it to the list this week. It was number 50, so it's up a little bit, up to number 32 from number 50. It's a great system, awesome system, and plays great solo. And I think this is I'm not sure if it's going to be a crossover or not with Phoenixknight. It was a game called Undaunted. I just chose the Undaunted Stalingrad. There's Undaunted Normandy, Undaunted North Africa, Undaunted Reinforcements. There's a whole bunch in the same series. I enjoyed the Stalingrad one because of the East Front. You're basically deck building your faction, and you're spending resources to bring new units into your deck, hopefully to be able to move your units around the board and capture territory and shoot enemies and do all that stuff that you're normally doing. But again, with the whole deck building mechanism going on, this is one of these games that take life and death seriously. Like, as you build your deck and you get your units eliminated, the cards leave your deck and are out of the game. So you're thinning your deck by getting your guys killed off, which can be a bad thing, but it can actually be a good thing because it also thins your deck out. So it makes it a little bit better to get your more powerful units and your more, the units that you need to activate up more often. It's got a great initiative system as well, where you have 3 cards that you're playing every round. And of those 3 cards, one of them you have to choose as your initiative card. So you're also debating about, I would like to really use this really powerful guy, but I could use him as my initiative to make sure I get to move first or shoot first or, do all the fancy things I need to do first. Really well done system. I think it is a great intro to wargaming. I would highly recommend, if you haven't played Undaunted, I would try Undaunted North Africa or Undaunted Normandy first because it's a little bit more manageable. Undaunted Stalingrad is a full, huge, massive campaign box. There's a lot more to it. It's a lot bigger game. So get one of the intro Undaunted games to try out first. See if you like it, and then if you do, purchase other games in the system. Great game, awesome, and I think it's a great way to get people to play wargaming. Excuse me, with deck building and very what I will call Euro-friendly mechanics. There's not a lot of the typical, as you can see, like the terrain pieces are just like normal terrain pieces. Each terrain piece has a number on it that tells you your defensive value. When you're rolling dice, you have to roll a certain value based on the terrain plus any bonuses you have. And so if the terrain is like an 8, I have to roll an 8 or higher on a 10-sided dice to hit you. So it's not super complex. It's not super involved. If you're, I don't like playing war games because it's just too complex. For me, it's a great intro game to piece together a solo adventure that plays great solo. My number 32 is Undaunted.
I had Undaunted 2200 Callisto on my list, mostly for
That's true, you did. That's right.
Sci-fi theme. That was down at number 78 on my list. And I forgot
to mention a crossover. It's basically the same. Obviously, Callisto has a sci-fi theme and mech warriors and stuff, but it's basically the same system.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention with the payoff pitch, that is up 26 spots on my list. Because
you played it a lot. And do you remember how many times you played it in 2025?
Not off the top of my head, but definitely not as often as I played my number 31 game on the list.
Okay.
Because the number 31 game on my list was actually the subject of my 1985 season replay last year. No, it wasn't Inside Pitch. Let's see if you can. We'll give you one more guess at it. It was 1985 last year.
Oh, jeez. I'm drawing a blank.
Well, the funny thing is, originally
was it season ticket?
It was season ticket.
Okay, I was thinking it was, but then I thought no, it can't be. But then I rethought about it, and you're right. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: 1985 last year was originally going to be an Inside Pitch, but I was having problems with Inside Pitch at the end of 2024, so I ended up switching it over to season ticket instead. And in hindsight, I'm kind of glad I did that. But this one is a D6 and a D100 system where the 6 tells you where you're going. 1 or 2, you go off the pitcher card. 3 or 4, you go off the batter card. 5 takes you to a fielder check unless you get a 0 on your 10s die, in which case you get a rare play. And then 6 sends you to the ballpark. And I think this was really the replay where I was like, yeah, ballparks are an absolute non-negotiable in my baseball simulation experience. And just more of the story that came out, especially in the 1985 replay I was going through, a lot of the moments that came out of that replay. I really, really enjoyed the experience. The season ticket, it's got the deep drives in there. You can even pull in weather effects in there, which I didn't do in 1985, but in a future season replay that uses season ticket, I may play with weather effects in that replay. My number 31 game, season ticket baseball. Plus, the seasons are very cheap, so.
Yeah, a lot of. This is the game system I want to like because there's a lot of really good things with it, and it does play pretty well. I do have a few issues with how things are done with that 5 number. Every time the 5 comes up, I think having 5-0 being a random rare play makes rare plays a little bit too common, I guess. And also having to check all the player cards. I know Phoenix likes to have all the cards out on the table, so at a moment's glance he can look down. I usually have all my cards stacked up on a single stack, which means I have to shuffle through them every time. So
I think that's probably the issue you're having getting to the feeling ratings is having everything stacked up like that.
Yeah. So that's why, again, with the defensive sheets, why I think the defensive sheets are great. And I don't get me wrong, I think Season Ticket is a really good game and a really good system. And you can download for free several teams to try out with all the charts and everything, which is very nice. The company basically gives you a super nice downloadable package to try the game out for free, which I think is a super good addition to get people to try the game. And there is perforated cards that you can purchase from the recommendation of the owner. And, he says, if you use these perforated cards and print the cards out, then, you got the perforated edges. You don't have to worry about cutting and matching and all that stuff. And I've printed things out like that. And they've been great. They've been absolutely wonderful. As a matter of fact, I've got some. Here's an example for you guys. See? So you have the perforated edges. They're on like a 6x6. You just fold and bend them together, and I've got the 2024 Yankees and Dodgers World Series that I started, playing through. It great game, great system. I don't mean to take anything away from it for sure. And Troy is there. Hey, Troy says season ticket for me. Yeah, there you go. Very popular game, and I know a lot of people really, really like it, and I know a lot of people don't like me poo-pooing it. The other thing that I've done, and I hate to carry on about this, but I think it's important, is you can see in the background of this shot here their defensive sheets. And what I've done is I've taken their defensive sheets and edited them so that the players' ratings and stats are on those defensive sheets, which is a lot of extra work that I've done. And I think the companies should actually do that for their customers. And then you wouldn't have to, you would have a defensive sheet as part of your ballpark sheet. Because there's a lot of waste, as you can see, there's a lot of wasted space in that you could put all the players' ratings on. And so I create like a little Excel sheet, copy and paste, and move some things around on my sheet. Here's an example. Let's see if I can find an example of one of the ones that I did. I don't know if I have one handy. Nope, I don't have. Not well, anyways. Basically, you just take the defensive sheet, you move things around, and then have a list of all the defensive alignments for the different players. Okay, and I've done a video on how to do that. My number 31 is another new game this year, and a game that I played, and as soon as I played it, I said to myself, wow, Phoenixknight is gotta get this game and play it. And I talked to him, and I emailed him, and then he never did. And he poo-pooed it, and he told me his chat GPT said he wouldn't like it, which I don't believe for a minute, but I will listen to him. I will just give him my recommendation again. This is a game called Vantage. Explore an entire planet's open world from first-person perspective. This is my 2025 game of the year. Is either going to be Vantage or it's going to be Galactic Cruise. I haven't decided yet which one is going to win out because they're both great games. This is basically over 1,000 cards of exploration. You're doing things. The cool thing is you get to choose what you're doing, and you always succeed. It's just going to cost you time or energy or life or morale or whatever. So you can say, oh, I want to go over here on this thing, and it might cause you to be bitten by a giant bug and lose some life, or it might cause you to gather a friend. There's a million different things that can happen in this game. I've played this 4 or 5 times so far. How many times have I played this game? 3 times it says. I've played it 3 official times through. Every time you play it, it's completely different. The first time I played it, my guy ended up being the Godfather. Like, my job was to create my own business. As I was progressing through the game, I came across the building, and they needed someone to become the owner of a casino, which I ended up having the resources or whatever I needed. And so I ended up being the Godfather. I ended up becoming the casino operator. The second time I played it, it was all about having a menage of pets. I had to have like 3 or 4 different pets in my group, and I ended up getting those. And the last time we played through, it was all about the different fauna. It is an open-ended world, which means you can play it for as long as you want to explore that character and stop playing it as soon as you're done. You can go for a regular victory, which is either completing your mission or your quest, or you can go for a superior, which is completing both your mission and your quest. And depending on how much you want to invest in the time in that character, you could probably just keep exploring with one character over and over and over again forever and ever if you wanted to do it. There's just so many different things to do with this game system. And not only that, but there is a super cool is it this one? No, that's not it. There's actually a website you can go to. Is this one it? Yeah, there it is. where you actually just type in like I'm doing a purple 412 action, and it'll actually tell you, okay, roll focus, and then you can roll your results, get your results, click on it, and then find out what had happened. And basically, all this stuff is updated and rated on the rule book. So great game, super good, very thematic, very interesting. You're always never sure what's going to happen, and a great adventure game. And I don't know why Phoenixknight resists this.
This is actually one that my ChatGPT engine thinks I'll really like, and I do have.
Okay. I thought you might like this. I know I talked to you about this, and I've played it several times and tried to get you. I know it's an expensive game, yes, and I understand that, but it's one of those games that you got 1,000 different cards. You got probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 6.8 million different combinations of different things that you can come across and explore and do. Like there's just like you randomize your character, you randomize where you're doing, what your skills are, where you land on the planet, and you just start drawing from there. When you land in a location, you have to decide, do I go left, right, straight? Do I do this action? Do I do this action? What am I going to do? It's up to you. Whatever you want to do, that's what you do.
I think
my number, what is it? 31, Vantage.
I think I'll probably look at this one during the off season.
It is definitely it can definitely be a lifestyle type game, because it's one of those games like there's so much content. There's over 800 different location cards. Every location cards will lead you to a different locations, and and you can kind of see, if I zoom in, like you can see, like if you were in this location, right? The artwork is super important. Like you can say, okay, like there's this huge black diamond thing. Like what the hell is that thing? Right? You don't know. Like what is it? So you have to choose to either do one of these actions, or you have to choose to move. And if you decide to go north, there's a star there which gives you a special result. If I decide to go west, I'm going to read number 133. And if I decide to go east, it's number 427. The thing is, you can never do more than one action on a card. So if you choose to say invest, let's say we'll focus. I'm going to focus on this location card, and you don't get the results you want. You can't just go, oh, you know what? I'm going to push then. No. You only get to do one action on a card. So it's makes you have very meaningful decisions, because it's not just like, oh, I'm going to focus, and if that doesn't work, then I'll do this, and then if that doesn't work, I'll do this. No, you get one chance in finding the good result. So, a lot of cool things with this one. My number 31, Vantage. Very interesting game. As I talked about, the three characters that I made were just ended up so different every time. That is cool. That is our list for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry we went a little bit long tonight. I apologize for that. We're just so excited about all these games we're talking about. And I do feel a little bit better tonight. So obviously you got a lot more to say. So let's quickly rehash what we did tonight. My number 40 was Runebound, 2nd edition. If you can't find 2nd edition, buy 1st edition and try it out.
Well, I've got a geek mail out about a copy of 1st edition with an expansion. I think the copy I found comes with the now I gotta have it reload. But it comes with an expansion. I'll wait for that to load.
I believe there's only one expansion in the 1st edition. So
we'll find out what
one main one. Yeah.
We'll find out what it comes with. My number 40 is Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle.
My number 39 was Hex Explorer, the Forest of Ardamon.
And that Runebound listing comes with Shadows of Margath, which sounds like the only expansion. My number 39, though, is Anne's End Legacy.
My number 38 is Turing Machine, the Puzzle Master.
Mine was Role Player.
My number 37 was Terraforming Mars, an all-time classic game.
My number 37 was Nemo's War by Victory Point Games.
My number 36 is Dune Imperium.
My number 36 is Ark Nova.
My number 35 is Playing the Bad Guy, The Murderer Yourself, The Bloody Inn.
My number 35 is Slay the Spire.
My number 34 was the Lord of the Rings, The Adventure book game. Again, a great puzzle adventure game.
My number 34 started the baseball section of my countdown with History Maker Baseball by Play Games.
My number 33 was Spirit Island by Greater Than Games.
My number 33 was Fall Classic Baseball.
My number 32 was the only war game to make the list this week, Undaunted Stalingrad.
My number 32 was Payoff Pitch Baseball.
And my number 31 was Vantage, a open world exploration game.
My number 31 was Season Ticket Baseball.
I find that so interesting that you ended up having 4 baseball games back to back to back to back. Wow, that is crazy. I mean, good, but it was just like the chances of that happening are like so random and so rare. I just can't believe that. Well, believe it or not, Phoenix, we got Sunday, and then we have next Thursday, and the following Sunday, and it's over. And before you know it, we won't be doing this every week.
Then I'll be back to my normal content schedule.
Speaking of, what you got coming up this weekend?
Well, this weekend is going to be another busy one. Tomorrow night, we are headed to Edison International Field, continuing my 2001 season replay in Payoff Pitch Baseball, as the San Diego Padres are playing the Anaheim Angels. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will start out of the Cooking with Deadpool cookbook with the appetizer, Nacho Average Cheese Sauce. Sunday morning, we have a new game debut on the channel as we're playing Marvel United by Simon. Wednesday, we're continuing the 2001 season replay as well for the last Wednesday. More on that during Monday night's 7th inning stretch.
Marvel United, did you just end up getting the base game then?
I've got a few expansions with it. I actually found a pack on Amazon that came with the base game, Spider-Verse, and Doctor Strange, I think, and I picked up a few expansions since.
Cool. I'm surprised. I'll be interesting to see what you think of the game. It is kind of a little puzzly, and I'm not sure. I know you're a big Marvel guy like myself. You're a huge Marvel fan and everything Marvel. So obviously we're drawn to these type games. I'm going to be interesting to see how well you like the game. I'm hoping you enjoy it. I think it's a great game, but I want to see you paint the minis.
My artistic talent never got far past stick figures.
Yeah. Well, everyone, Sunday night is Super Bowl night, but the show goes on. We don't care about the Super Bowl. I'm not watching the Super Bowl. We're going to be running our show at 8 o'clock, and we're going to have a great time as we talk about number 30 down to number 21. And I look forward to having everyone come out and check out the show then, and look forward to it. I will mention, since tonight is Thursday, next Thursday, the show next Thursday, I will be on Cardboard Commander's show from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So we won't be starting right at 8 o'clock next Thursday. It'll probably be like 5 or 10 after. So it'll be very quickly after 8 o'clock we'll be starting, but not exactly 8 o'clock. So if you're looking for the show, give it a few minutes next Thursday. Sunday night is going to be normal time, 8 o'clock. No problems there. So we look forward to checking out your show tomorrow and your stuff coming up this weekend, and checking out your Marvel United. And you're playing with probably 3 or 4 characters then, I'm assuming?
Probably that.
Okay.
I haven't decided which characters yet, but
I think I normally play with 3 characters. And then each of the characters has their 3 cards out in front. And so I just like kind of line them up off the side and you can just see them all, the cards really quickly, which kind of works for me. I think it plays pretty decently solo. And if you ever get around to it, there's some huge campaign that this group of people made for it that has this huge interactive map that you go and it'll be like, oh, you do this. And then, there's all these like lines going everywhere. Let's see if I would love to show you this because I would love to, I want to see a reaction to this. Like, oh my God. Like seriously. Let's see if I can find it. Marvel United. Let's do it like this. Marvel United campaign map. Oh, let's see. Is this? Are we going to see it? Are we going to see it? Oh, look at this. Let's see if I can show you this. Well, which one is it? Of course. Okay, that's not the right screen, but at least here it is. Here it is.
Oh, good grief.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. So each one of those is its own adventure, and then you can like it has the different characters that you take into the adventure, and then the villain you're facing off against, and then your bonus or reward. Yeah, so there's like this huge. Yeah, if you ever get around to it,
Yeah, let me do my first playthrough and probably do about another couple hundred more before we even get anywhere near this.
Yeah, I subscribe to a channel called Kanji, and he's on number 121. I think he played the other night. He played number 121. So I don't know how many different nodes there are, but there's like 7,000 nodes that you can come across. Anyways,
right now I'm going with the answer of way too freaking many.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I probably will never do that, but I think it's a great fun system. We'll see. Everyone, we'll see you guys on Sunday, Super Sunday, for our countdown 30 down to 21. Awesome games. I can't wait to talk about them, and I can't wait to talk to you then as well, Phoenix. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
All right, everyone, have a good weekend. We'll see you guys Sunday.